Today we're going to have a training for being an installer for the Home Fire Preparedness Campaign. If I can advance the slide. There we go. Okay, so first we're going to watch a video that our National American Red Cross put out on a safety video for remaining safe when you are an installer or when you're performing any role as part of the Home Fire Preparedness Campaign. Remember, you will always be going in a group of at least 2 people into residents' homes to install smoke alarms and provide them preparedness education. Let's watch this video together to receive the safety information that they have so generously put out for us.
Hello, and welcome to the Red Cross Home Fire Preparedness Campaign, Canvassing and Home Visit Safety Training. Today's learning objective will be to understand the campaign and how to stay safe while working on the campaign, what to expect and how to be prepared before, during, and after canvassing and visiting homes, review general safety tips for ladder usage and installing smoke alarms, and review how to stay connected with your team and plan for an effective and enjoyable experience. The Red Cross and its partners have set a goal to reduce the number of fire deaths and injuries in the United States by 25% in 5 years. We will achieve this goal by building coalitions and partners, conducting pre-event canvassing, and installing smoke alarms in our most at-risk communities and neighborhoods across the country. When canvassing and visiting homes, be sure to wear comfortable walking shoes and weather-appropriate clothing that properly identifies yourself as part of the Home Fire Preparedness Campaign. For example, a Red Cross vest or shirt, or an item of clothing with a logo of the group you're affiliated with. Do not wear flashy jewelry and make sure to leave your valuables at home. While canvassing and visiting homes, make sure to have your maps and campaign materials with you at all times. Carry a fully charged cell phone or communication device, and bring a pen with you to complete any necessary documentation. Make sure to drink plenty of water, even if it's cold outside. Before heading out, familiarize yourself with your route and communicate any changes to your point of contact. Also make sure to exchange phone numbers with your campaign point of contact, as well as your volunteer group members in case anyone needs to reach you. While you're approaching homes, always stay alert and observant. Trust your instincts and use good judgment. Leave the property immediately if you are asked to do so. Always be vigilant around animals you encounter outside and inside the home. Stay in contact with your campaign lead and call 911 immediately if you feel you're in danger. Never approach a home or property if you don't feel safe. For instance, if you see unsecured dogs, broken windows or doors, or if you see people fighting, drinking, or using drugs on the property. Do not approach homes with no trespassing or no soliciting signs, and never leave information in mailboxes. They are federal property, and it is illegal to tamper with them. To ensure vehicle safety, be sure your car has enough gas and is in working order. Lock your car and leave personal items in the trunk. Do not park your car in anyone's assigned parking space or block access to anyone's car. When visiting homes, always stay with your volunteer group. Do not enter a home, conduct in-home activities, or leave a home without all the members of your group. Make sure to remain friendly, calm, polite, and respectful. Please remember, you're a guest in someone's home. Stay aware of your surroundings and pay attention to your instincts and feelings. If you feel something is wrong, make sure to listen to the feeling. Before entering a home, always get permission from an adult resident who is 18 years old or older. Never enter a residence if children are home alone. General rules to ensure that you stay safe. You should never place yourself alone with a young person unless it is your own family member. To ensure everyone's safety, always have another youth or adult with you. If you feel unsafe while you're in a home for any reason, leave right away. Again, if you feel you're in danger, call 911 immediately. Also be sure to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer throughout the day to prevent spreading illness. When you or a team member needs a restroom break, please avoid using the restroom in residents' homes. Instead, we recommend locating the nearest gas station or restaurant before you start make a donation or to the Red Cross's website, www.redcross.org. Always ask permission before taking any photographs and ensure that any individual who is photographed has signed a photo release. When installing smoke alarms, be sure to follow these general safety steps. Always wear eye protection, such as safety goggles, when installing smoke alarms with a drill or screwdriver. Operate all electrical equipment, such as drills or extension cords, in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Do not remove hardwired smoke alarms. These alarms must be installed and removed by a licensed electrician to stay in compliance with most local and state codes. When using a ladder or step stool to install alarms, always set up the ladder or step stool on a flat surface that is free from furniture, clutter, or rugs that may slide. Keep all the legs of the ladder or step stool on the same surface to ensure stability. All the legs should be on a hard floor, or all the legs should be on carpet. Assign one person to hold the ladder and pass materials up to the person installing the smoke alarm. Never walk under an open ladder, and never stand on the highest step of the ladder. When you're finished with your canvassing and home visit, please return to your designated staging location and check in. Organize and return the supplies you used and required program documentation. Debrief with your lead or captain, and feel free to provide suggestions for improving the campaign for future volunteers. Thanks, and have fun, and always remember to put safety first.
Great. Now we're going to watch a video about our local training here in the Eastern Missouri region about how to be an installer and perform your duties of this role.
Hi, today we're going to talk about being an installer and the Home Fire Preparedness Campaign. It's a local or a national initiative where we are trying to reduce home fire fatalities and injuries by 25% over the next 5 years. Your role in the Home Fire Preparedness Campaign is to be an installer.
site. So that should give you a pretty good idea of what steps you're going to be performing as an installer the day of the event. I just want to go through a few more slides that help us kind of brainstorm where we put smoke alarms as installers and kind of help make sure that you're comfortable deciding room by room and across the entire home where you put those smoke alarms. Just to kind of summarize what I had mentioned in the video, mount smoke alarms in the middle of the ceiling if possible. For wall-mounted units, so anything that doesn't make sense to put on the ceiling, it's okay to put it on the wall. You just want to make sure that it's at least 3 feet from any corner of the room, so trying to avoid that dead air space that I mentioned, and then at least 4 to 6 inches from the ceiling. So higher up on that wall, away from that corner is ideal if you do have to mount it on the wall rather than the ceiling. Do not install smoke alarms near heating or cooling ducts. And then in mobile home units, install the smoke alarms on inside walls. Once again, for that minimum protection, so if you walk in a home and they don't have any smoke alarms to begin with, we want to really install smoke alarms in places that make the most sense for that home. So ideally in those outside of sleeping areas, in bedrooms, and on every level of the home. So if you only have 3 smoke alarms for an entire home, that has none to begin with, you're going to have to be strategic and keeping in mind that we want one on every floor of the home and, if possible, inside each bedroom or just outside in a hallway if you have to kind of figure out the best place to put it with only 3. For maximum protection, so maybe if you walk into a home and they already have some working smoke alarms, we can install smoke alarms to give them even more protection, installing smoke alarms in each living area or, like I mentioned, inside each bedroom rather than just the hallway. So really, ideally, we want to make sure we're providing that minimum protection, but in a best-case scenario, we can help get closer to that maximum protection for different homes in our area. Let's just go through and pretend that we are going through a home. This is a layout, so if we have received that resident's permission to come in the home, we have received resident's permission to install smoke alarms. A lot of times if they're a renter, if you're going to defer to them and what they think their landlord would be okay with. One thing that I didn't note in the video, if a home has hardwired smoke alarms, we're just going to let those smoke alarms be. We're not going to mess with them at all. We can still provide them with the preparedness information, but this is just for homes that have battery-operated smoke alarms. You'll get that approval from the resident, and then you'll have them give you a verbal layout of the home. So for the sake of our video, we made a home floor plan, but you can get that layout explained and where smoke alarms are just verbally by talking to that resident when you enter the home. So let's pretend that we enter through the living room. That's the first place we enter. And we're going to just go through and talk about in each of these rooms where we would place smoke alarms. We're aware that you won't have as many smoke alarms to utilize, but this is for this maximum protection. Let's see if I can get to the pen. Okay, so in the living area, we had mentioned living areas are a good place to put smoke alarms. Ideally in the center of the room, so maybe right here would be a great place for a smoke alarm. Keeping in mind that they may open these windows, it might be better to place it farther back from the window because we had mentioned drafty areas. But living areas are really a terrific place to place a smoke alarm. Kitchen. In the video, we had mentioned trying to keep away from stoves or anything that could produce heat. This is a pretty small kitchen. So, I mean, it might be kind of hard to get far enough away from that stove. You might just opt not to place a smoke alarm in your kitchen, but rather put one right in the hallway outside of it. Smoke alarms often have a hush setting on them, so if you do decide in a maximum protection situation to place it in the kitchen, make sure that in the user guide it does have a hush button and you can explain that to residents or the preparedness person can. The hallway. So if you remember back to that layout, there were quite a few bedrooms that connected to the hallway. In that minimum protection situation, so when you don't have enough smoke alarms to put one in every bedroom, you'd consider putting it in the hallway outside of the bedroom. So here might be good, considering that there is a vent right here that could affect where smoke alarms are, or could affect that sensitivity of the smoke alarm. So maybe on the ceiling right here. The adult bedroom, keeping, as we mentioned, having a smoke alarm in every bedroom, putting that smoke alarm in the center of the room, once again avoiding that vent and avoiding this window, which might be a drafty area. Same thing with the kids' bedroom, center of the ceiling, avoiding that window. If there are any fluorescent lights in any of the rooms, trying to keep it away from those fluorescent lights as well. The one thing that we didn't mention is that bathrooms really aren't a terrific place to put smoke alarms because the steam from the shower can often set up the smoke alarm. So if you'll think back to the layout of the home, that bathroom was right off of that hallway that was near where rooms were. So you could just put that smoke alarm in the hallway and it should be good enough. The guest bedroom, of course, you want to have a smoke alarm in your guest bedroom for that maximum protection. The center of the room, away from that fan and away from those cooling or heating vents, would be ideal. And so that's sort of just an overview of where in those specific rooms you could put the smoke alarm. As we mentioned, on every floor of the home, including the basement, we don't need to put smoke alarms in the attic, but we do want one in the basement. At the base of the stairs is probably best, so that sound can travel up the stairs. And sleeping in or outside of sleeping areas and in living rooms are really good areas to put smoke alarms when you're deciding where to minimally or maximally protect that house when you're in the resident's home. You'll have your preparedness person with you, and you can talk through where you should put smoke alarms, making sure that the resident thinks that that's a good idea, where the preparedness person and you think is best, and then go ahead and install those smoke alarms, once again testing that alarm in the resident's presence before you move on to the next one. So that's a pretty good overview of your role. The last thing that we wanted to mention before we conclude this training video is before you come to the training event, your project coordinator, our point of contact, will ask you if you have any of these items to bring with you. So a 6-foot standalone ladder, a Phillips head screwdriver, a battery-operated drill with a Phillips head drill bit. Please bring these items with you if you have said that you will bring them, and go ahead and label them before you arrive at the event, so it'll save time the day of, and we'll make sure that you get those items back in the same condition that you brought them. We very much appreciate you helping with this event, and we do hope that you'll come out and participate in future events as well. If you do have any questions, please contact your project coordinator, and they'd be happy to answer those questions. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day.